What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
Guys, do you prefer, if you're going to a public bathroom, to dry your hands with a paper towel, or do you like those hand blower things?
Definitely paper towel.
Paper towel, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
We're a
Well,
paper towel guy, too.
guys, this is why you're happy and healthy, because apparently those air dryer things, the headline is, jet hand dryers are basically germ cannons. Germ cannons. So they've done, 2 studies were done, one here in the U.S., one in the U.K., and they did in the U.K., they looked at 4 different hospitals over a period of 6 to 8 weeks, and they measured the amount of Staphylococcus aureus, which is the staph infection, in the bathroom. They made sure that in all the 4 bathrooms in each hospital they were monitoring only had access to the hand dryer, the aired thing, no paper towels. And they measured the thing, and it turns out that the bacteria amounts were pretty troublesome. And it turns out that the reason this is when someone flushes a toilet and the lid is not down, microparticles of fecal matter go into the air. When the blow hand dryer goes on, it literally sucks those particles into its vent and blows them on your hands and around the room.
So if you're at a rest area and there's 50 toilets and you're because they don't have lids, that stuff's all floating in the air. I'll never go to the restroom again.
And yeah.
Ugh. That's nasty.
The very design of these machines makes for easier germ spreading, as they say.
So it's not from your hands being wet.
No. Well, the second part is most people don't wash their hands properly. So even if you did rinse your hands and you put them in this dryer thing or under the blowing air, if you didn't wash your hands properly, you're now spreading bacteria as well.
What, your unit?
Just from whatever you touched. And I remember this is like they were looking at hospital situations here. Of course,
hospital situations.
So they have to be super clean. You don't want staph infection, right? So, of course, companies who produce and sell the hand dryers, such as Dyson, one of your favorite companies, have criticized the design of these negative studies while touting their own research showing that jet dryers are actually safer. So then we hop ahead to a University of Connecticut study. The past is always present in our dear state of Connecticut, where we hail from. And basically, a researcher there said there's a lot of bacteria in bathrooms. Hand dryers basically suck it up and spray it on people's hands. Posing a possible risk for the elderly or people with health. And he said that's because bathroom bacteria comes from feces and gets aerosolized. You know when you spray a can of aerosolized. So I wonder,
I guess, so if it's sucking in the air, right, to blow dry your hands.
So those particles are in the atmosphere.
And they get sucked in, they blow out on your hands.
And
so there's no filter then, is what they're saying. There's no filter in those machines.
And you are so smart. This is why we do the focus group every week. Everybody learns something. I always learn something new about my co-host, that he's smart. On the bright side, dryers fitted with high-efficiency particulate air HEPA filters blocked roughly 75% of bathroom bacteria.
It's still not enough.
Yeah, but 75% isn't bad. So I always hate these things. I hate when I'm in a bathroom. New York Public Libraries prime for this. Bathrooms are clean, they're fine, but you have a row of sinks and then this solitary, lonely little white box with a push the button. And I'm like, oh.
You don't want to pay for paper.
No, and then you never really dry, and then you wipe it on your hand. Ugh, yeah.
Dyson can't make a vacuum, but the hand dryer does.
Oh, I love the blade.
That does okay, but the vacuum sucks. Not in a good way.
So, yeah, I would say, folks, that if you're in a bathroom with your only option is the air thing, you might want to double think that. I would say still wash your hand. Well, there you go. Wash your hands. You're going to touch the knob to get out. Yeah, well, whatever.
Well, I wonder about that.
You know, sometimes I'm like a cat with a sparkly toy or a little ball. Like I see a headline like I like the term germ cannon. So the minute I read this, I'm like, okay, this is caught my eye because I really like that germ cannon thing. But that's what caught my eye.
I had 2 very pedestrian things.
Besides a fecal matter cannon?
Well, I get in trouble all the time, and any of my friends who watch the show know, and they've run into this that have moved me, particularly Brian and Matthew and Richard. And I love to keep a plastic bag. So the grocery bags you get, the plastic grocery bags, because you never know. I use them for everything. I even use, you can see over there in my bag now, if you could see here, I've got plastic bags hanging out of it for an umbrella or for putting my shirt in or whatever. But I didn't know this, and for years I was throwing them in the recycle bin, but they don't want them.
Ooh.
Because they can't be recycled, I guess. Or you have to recycle them. You can bring them back to the stores and they'll recycle them or something.
It's not the right kind of plastic for
they're a
recycling,
problem.
Yeah.
So this headline I looked at, it said, Kroger to phase out plastic bags at all stores. So I thought, well, that's awful nice. So that it's the nation's largest grocery chain. They order 6 billion bags a year.
I didn't know Kroger was the largest.
I didn't either. But they operate 2,779 stores in 35 states and D.C., and they're under a bunch of different brands. But as I read on in the story, they plan to phase out the bags in the stores by 2025. It's going to take them 7 years? Did they buy that many bags?
There's a warehouse of these plastic
Or they're under
bags.
contract, but I thought, is it going to really take you 7 years?
Can't you just stop?
Thank you. Right? That's what I thought. So I thought, well, okay. They said they're going to start in Seattle, no surprise, the land of the big blue marble. They're going to start out there at the QFC chain, where they're going to be plastic bag free as of next year. They said this is a broader shift by companies to reduce waste, which is a smart thing. I'm all for this. They said especially plastic. They said Disney, Starbucks, Marriott, and McDonald's are all getting rid of plastic straws, and Dunkin' Donuts is finally phasing out their polystyrene foam cups by 2020. IKEA also will eliminate all single-use plastic products from its shelves by 2020, including straws. So I don't think that's a good thing. The plastic thing has gone out of control, but you know why we've got plastic everywhere.
No. I mean,
What's plastic made from?
petroleum.
Oil, the oil industry.
Well, remember we were down in Texas once at doing focus groups, and you couldn't find a paper cup if you paid someone. And you said to me, I said, where's the styrofoams everywhere? You're like, and there's an oil rig literally like.
Oil products. So the oil companies obviously are probably not happy with this because getting rid of all this plastic will affect their business. And then in the opening of the show, we talked about a candy bar that made Madonna late for stage. So did you know the story about the Clark candy bar? So the Clark bar has been saved from extinction, and it's going to return to production in Pennsylvania, of all places, where it was founded in Pittsburgh. Back in 1917, an Irish immigrant, D.L. Clark, invented the Clark bar, which is a chocolate-coated peanut butter crunch bar. I used to love Clark bars.
Yeah.
You like them?
Yeah.
Kind of like a Butterfinger, I guess. So they were individually wrapped and shipped to troops during World War I. That's what they were originally used for. And the Clark family sold the business in 1955, and ownership changed several times. And it ended up with the New England Confectionery Company in Revere, Mass., which we know as Necco. So the Necco wafers.
So this is, okay, so the company that made Necco was the holding company that did Clark Bar.
They did Clark bars. They did the Sweetheart Conversation Hearts.
Well, yeah.
Necco wafers.
Got it, okay. But
They
they
did a number of
closed and they.
So the fate of the Clark bar and other nostalgic candies such as the Necco wafers and the Sweetheart Conversation Hearts was thrown into limbo because they declared bankruptcy in last April. And you and I talked about buying it. But
You wanted to buy it for $50.
well, Round Hill.
We were not exactly contenders for the Necco wafer.
So somebody bought the whole empire of
And it is an empire.
New England Confectionery Company. You want to guess how much they spent?
Okay.
You probably could have scraped it together.
If you're saying that, is it
It's giving you a hint.
they bought it for maybe $50 million?
$17.3 million.
$17.3 million?
And now, whatever this company is, so Round Hill Investments did this, and now they're selling off
Each
each
asset.
individual thing. The only thing that's sold so far, apparently, is this Clark bar, a company that makes the Mallow cups.
Oh, I remember those.
So it's so there's a guy named Forgione who bought it. He
Bring back the Necco wafer, though. That was my favorite candy as a kid. One of my favorites.
the Necco wafer.
Yeah, I love Necco wafers.
So he's declined to say how much he paid for it, and he said it's going to take him about 6 months to get production underway. He bought the recipes, he bought the machines, and bought everything to make these Clark bars. And he said it's taken us a while to bring it back because we saw how upset people were. We want to make sure we do it right. He said no candy bar should go out of production on its 101st birthday.
Its 101st birthday, huh?
So I had a friend, and I'll say allegedly now and allegedly after, but I had a friend that worked for Arista Records back in 1985, and I just moved to Philadelphia, and there was a little-known artist named Madonna that was going to be one of the headliners at Live Aid. Thickacone. So she was going to be one of the headliners at Live Aid. And if everybody remembers watching Live Aid in 1985, she was late to the stage.
I do.
The reason she was late is she had sent all these people out looking for Clark bars.
She wanted a Clark
and
bar.
she refused to go on stage, allegedly, until she had a Clark bar. So they were looking all over for these Clark bars. They finally found one, they said, at either a Wawa or 7-Eleven down there. And then they said she then took a pit stop with Sean Penn in one of the porta potties, allegedly. But had her Clark bar, and then she ended up on stage. But she was late. I think she was about 45 minutes late to stage.